The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are and when you are watching this webinar, since it's going to be recorded. Today, we are in the monthly webinar that we conduct here at Sensei. And the webinar that we are going to be doing today will be on custom formulas. So this is a series of webinars that we are conducting in here, and this is the part number 3 of the webinars. This is the last part. And today we will discuss how to create governance KPIs for your schedule using Microsoft Project Desktop. Um, my name is Rafael Santos. I am a Microsoft Project MVP, and also I work here at Sensei as a principal consultant, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a big thank you for all of you who are dedicating a little bit of your time to join me today. And I hope that we can have a very good session. I hope that this session is useful for you. So I wanted to get started talking a little bit about myself. Some of you may have participated in the previous webinars, so you might know me already. For those of you who are watching sessions with me for the first time, as I said, my name is Rafael Santos. I am a member of the delivery team here at Sensei. So the delivery team is responsible for engaging with clients and customers, understanding their business needs when it comes to the utilization of the PPM platform, Project Online, Project Server, as well as Microsoft Project. And after understanding their business needs, we convert those business needs into configurations, into solutions, so then they can manage their portfolio of projects. So I've been nominated as a Microsoft Project MVP in the year 2016. And what's interesting is that there are only 28 MVPs, Microsoft MVPs for Microsoft Project, which is the category that I am associated to. So there are only 28 of them, and 2 of them are at Sensei. As a personal experience and previous experience, I have participated in projects to adopt and implement the PPM platform. So, have worked here in Brazil, where I am based, in all Latin America and South America. So, I have had the opportunity to participate in projects in Argentina, in Peru, some countries here in South America. I have also lived for a while in Africa, in which I was participating in a team who were responsible for delivering PPM implementations in there as well. And now I am working with the North American folks since I am working with Sensei since 2015. As I said, I'm based in São Paulo, Brazil, and my email address is rafael.santos at senseiprojectsolutions.com. So after the presentation, if you want to receive a copy of the presentation of the slide decks that I'm using or any other files, or if you want to get in touch to have a discussion, please feel free to do so. I really like interacting with people, sharing ideas. So that's going to be very nice. I wanted to talk a little bit about Sensei. So Sensei is a Microsoft PPM partner, and we have been nominated, or we won the Partner of the Year in award in 2014, and we have been nominated as finalists in 2015, 2017, and also 2018. We have more than 500 PPM deployments all over the United States and Canada. We have more than 5,000 users trained, both project managers, administrators, team members, portfolio managers, and we do have truly a global impact. So Sensei helps organizations achieve strategic goals through work and portfolio management, through the utilization of best practices with Microsoft technology. And for you to know a little bit more what we do and what we offer, our solutions and our core business is divided or is split, I would say, in four different pillars. So we do offer services such as PPM consultancy and PPM support. We do have a couple of good solutions to help companies and organizations get up to speed with the PPM platform. So we have the Jumpstart solution, the Report Packs, Integration Hub, Reporting Hub, and the Power BI Content Pack. We have also a solution for Agile. We do offer training, so there are the open enrollment trainings that you can do through your desk. So those are live trainings that happen on demand over the web, and there are also closed, or I would say, on-site classes that can be acquired. So we have trainings for project managers, team members, administrators, e-learning books, and everything. And also the last pillar, which are the apps. So we have enhanced the utilization of project and project online through a couple of apps that speed up and provide some more value to your implementation. So if you are interested in knowing more what we do and on what we offer and which are our products and solutions, I would encourage you to visit senseiprojectsolutions.com, and from there you will have the ability to understand how we can help your organization. If you are already a customer of us, if you are already a client of us, I wanted to say a big thank you. We appreciate your business. So just before we really get started with today's session, I just wanted to let you guys know that this is a series on custom formulas and indicators. So we have had two previous sessions. So the session one has been delivered, and in it we talked about discovering the percentage of variance when you are using Microsoft Project. So very important information is how much or how big is the variance in my project. So we did that in the part number one, in the session number one. Then we have the session number two, which has also been delivered, but is also available on demand. And in that particular session, we discussed the creation of a critical path indicator using Microsoft Project. So if you want to know more and to watch the on-demand sessions, they are going to be available. There are the links. You can register. So just send me an email. I can send you this presentation that contains the links. And as you know, today we will close this series talking on governance KPIs. So why is this important? We have to think on governance and compliance as a way for us as project managers to track compliance to project management and scheduling standards. And also we need to ensure that our schedule or our schedules, if we are managing multiple projects, present good quality in terms of data. So then we can make sure we are sure that we are sharing with the team, we are sharing within our organization the true results, and what is available in there, what we are sharing is really what the schedule means. So then, in the future, as the schedule is progressing, we do not have situations in which we didn't have the right information, or we are missing a part of the information, and then it was causing the schedule not to represent the current and truly picture. It is something that we can use and we can do in two ways. So if you guys are using Project Online or Project Server or a PPM platform, you can have the ability to do these governance checks, but the recommendation would be for it to be in a more organizational level. So everyone who works as a project manager within the organization would basically follow the same thing for in terms of the default in how the organization works. But if you are a project manager working in standalone, working with project without any PPM tools such as I said, Project Online and Project Server, you can also use this. You can use this individually to make sure your schedule are in a good track and you can really trust it. And here we need to think about the big picture, right? So as project managers, we create schedules. We have many tasks in the schedules, and then we share this information with a team. It doesn't matter if you are using Project Online or Project Server, or if you are working in standalone. As soon as you have tasks and you are building and putting together a schedule, you are doing that to share some information with your team, because these people or the members of your team will be responsible, or they will be the people responsible for taking care of the tasks, for conducting the tasks, for performing the work, right? So here I am just sharing an example so then we can think on the importance of having a good schedule with appropriate information. So we may think that we have project A, project B, project C, project D. So we have many projects within our organization. We have our resources assigned to tasks, and they will conduct and perform their work, right? At the end of the day, or at the end of the reporting period, what's going to happen is those members of our team, based on the tasks in the projects they are associated to, they have been assigned to, they will be sharing some information regarding the status of their tasks. So as a project manager, I would be receiving all of this information. And when I receive this information, I need to, play with it. I need to understand it. I need to make sense of it. And I need to guarantee that this information is truly representing what we are going to be delivering for the schedule, for the project, in each project that I have. So as soon as we are increasing the number of projects, the level of complexity is also increasing. And this is because when we collect this information, in most of the cases, we are going to be creating some reports if they are not available in our organization. If they are available, for example, through Power BI in Project Online or Project Server, then we are just going to be replicating this information and the reports will be presenting them. But at the end of the day, what happens is we are going to share this information with our key executives, right? So our portfolio viewers, our executives, our CEO, our CIO, the PMO members, all of these people will be consuming the data coming from our schedules. So we as project managers, we need to make sure that this information is really, really good and the data quality is being taken care. That's the big picture when we think on compliance and scheduling standards. So basically, what are we looking for? So we are looking for a couple of items in here. We may not have time to go all over them, but as soon as I share the initial concept of creating at least one formula or two formulas, then you can take it from there and move forward yourselves. So we have to take a look, and we are looking for things such as, are all tasks baselined? So if we do have tasks in our schedule which are not baselined, we do not have the ability to understand if they are sleeping, if we are spending more time, if we are spending more money than what has been originally planned, or than what has been originally approved. So we need to be very sure that all the tasks in our schedule have baselines. So this is one of the things that we are looking for. We also need to check, and we are also looking for tasks with no predecessors. Hey everyone, I'm not sure if you are hearing me. I'm receiving an information here that my audio is not being recorded. If you can you go to the chat window and let me know if you are able to hear me without problems? Hello everyone, can you hear me? It seems that I'm receiving some audio problems here, but it seems that audio has been re-established. Okay, let me see. And let me just do a quick test here, make sure that I'm connected. Okay, seems I'm back. Hey everyone, can you hear me? All right, okay, yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah, it seems I had a quick problem in my network here, but if you are able to hear me, then let's go ahead. So I was saying, and I'm sorry about that, but I was saying that we are looking for tasks that are not baselined. So this is one of the things that we are looking for. And there are some other things that we are looking for. So we are looking for tasks with no predecessors. So if a task has no predecessor, that's a problem because the task, all tasks in the schedule, they should have a predecessor. They should be, available for us as project managers. We need to make sure that all tasks have predecessors. This is a very key information for us. We also need to make sure that tasks have successors, right? So the scheduling standards best practices, they say that all tasks in the schedule, they should have a predecessor and they should also have a successor. This rule does not apply, or the only situation in which this rule does not apply is for the first task of the schedule and the last task of the schedule. Those two, we can consider that that's okay, not having a predecessor or a successor. However, for all of the tasks, the regular tasks that we have, they should have successors and predecessors. One more thing that we can look for is do the tasks have constraints? So constraints are normally something that we impose into the schedule. So we may say, my task should get started on this particular date. But when we do that, what happens behind the scenes is we are stopping project's mechanism for calculating the projects, for calculating the tasks and the schedule based on the links in between the tasks. So I do like to look into tasks that have constraints, because if they do, I may have, I may go other way, or I may take a different direction, and I may break the constraint and determine that the task is going to be, respecting the links that have been defined. So I personally don't like to use constraints. I I do tend to use more the links in between the tasks and having no constraints, just because in that way my schedule will always be dynamic. It's always going to be calculating itself based upon the information that is in there, duration of the tasks, start and finish dates, and all the links that have in between the tasks. Two more things that we can look for here are dependencies on summary tasks. So if I do establish dependencies on summary task, this is not something good for the schedule, because it can somehow hide the critical path, and the summary tasks, they are only in there, or their existence or their goal is to determine what's the deliverable that we have. So then we have all of the activities that together will basically deliver that particular deliverable. So it's like a package, right? So the only links that we should be having is in between tasks. So I have a task to task relationship. I have a task to task dependency, and dependencies on summary tasks, if they do exist, should be avoided. So we should be looking into this and making sure that there are no dependencies on summary tasks. And finally, the last point in here is having resources to assigned to summary tasks, because as I said, summary task is not something that we are doing regularly. This is not something that happens. What happens is a task. A task happens because it's an activity, but the summary tasks, they do not exist. As I said, they are just grouping a collection of tasks into a package or into a deliverable. So we have also to avoid having resources assigned to summary tasks. So that's the moment in which we are going to go to the hands-on. Of course, that we are not going to go and look into all of the formulas just because we do not have the time to go ahead and look into all of them. But what I am going to be doing is at the end of the presentation, you just send me an email. I can send this slide deck to you guys. And we have the list of formulas in here. So we have tasks with no baseline, so that's the formula. We have tasks with no predecessors, that's the formula. So all the items that we have been discussing in here, the formulas are sorry, the formulas are going to be available in the slide deck. So you just go ahead, you just ask me for this, I can share the information with you, and then you can use the tasks on your projects. So let's move on, do a hands-on here real quick. I will move back to project desktop, and let me open up a schedule in here so then we can see this working. All right, and the formulas, as soon as I create them, they might be, so small for you to see. So what I'm going to be doing is, as soon as I'm creating the formulas, I will use a tool here called Zoom. So I can zoom in and I can zoom out, and you can see clearly what I am doing. So first thing is, we are going to be looking for tasks with no baselines. So that's the easiest. What we can do is we can go to project, and then in the project section of the ribbon, I will be clicking on custom fields. So click on custom fields, and the second option, or the second action that we need to take in here, is we need to decide what's the field in which we are going to store the information or our formula. So normally or regularly, what a people or a person would be doing is they would be choosing flag. So a flag is a yes or no field, and you can definitely use this flag as an option to deliver your field. But what I like to do really is I like to use text, because when I use text, I can type in the text that is going to be delivered as an answer for the rule that we are creating. And if I pass this information over to somebody else on my organization, for example, they know that they are missing something, and they can scroll over the icon. And then when they scroll over the icon, they can see the text and they can understand what they are missing. So that's the reason I do not use flag. I do prefer to use text. So I will choose text number 1 here. I will rename the field, and I will use, the we call here in Brazil the hashtag sign to determine that this is a custom field that I'm creating. So then I can easily identify that this is a custom field, and I can just type the name. So I will call this baseline, and then I will use a formula. So to create a formula, in the previous sections, I detailed how to create them, the utilization of functions, the utilization of fields, and everything. So if you are not so familiar with this, I suggest that you go ahead and after this presentation, you watch the first initial presentation on this series, because in here what I'm going to be doing is I have all of the formulas in a notepad right here. So I'll be just copying and pasting them. So then I do not spend too much time on creating the formula itself using functions and everything. So let me put this in the other monitor here, and I will just paste. And I wanted to let you know what I'm doing here. So what I'm doing is, since I need to verify if the tasks have baseline or not, I will create a formula called baseline, and I will use an if function. So the if function will be using the baseline finish date, and I will compare this to a formula called project date value. So when there is no baseline, the information is stored is NA, which means not available. So when my baseline finish date is equals to NA, it means I don't have a baseline for the project, to the entire project, or for some tasks. So if this happens, then my answer is going to be task has no baseline. And if that's not true, then my answer will be task has baseline. So that's all I am doing here. So we'll confirm that the formula is created. For the calculation for the summary rows, I will use the formula. So I will just repeat the formula in the summary rows, and then I will use the graphical indicators. So on the graphical indicators, we just need to define the images or icons that are going to be used based upon the text, the tests or the rules that we have defined. So I will say if the result of the formula that we created equals to task has no baseline, then I will just use, the red flag. And if the result equals to task has baseline, then it means, everything is fine, and I should just use the green flag. So as soon as I define which are going to be my images or my indicators, I can define that my summary rows will be just repeating the same criteria. So this is going to be working for summary rows and also for project summary. And then I can click OK. So my formula is created. I can click OK again. And then when I add a column here, I do have my baseline field that has been just created. And as soon as I insert this information, let me just centralize this a little bit, put this, central. So this is going to be this way. So then we can easily see if there are tasks in our schedule which have no baseline. So for example, this is a task, add web servers to the farm, that has no baseline. And the good thing is if I scroll over the mouse in here, it should be showing just me the information for this particular task. I believe, since I was zooming in, then it's not being displayed, but here we can see that, why is this flag red? This is because the task has no baseline. So I think that if I share this with somebody else on my organization, they will easily understand why is this flag being displayed as red, right, in the red color. And if I move on here to my schedule, I have some other task in which the situation is basically the same. So let's create another one just for us to do this exercise again. Now I will be concentrating on tasks that have no predecessors. So same thing, custom fields, and then I will go to text number 2. Let me just zoom this in a little bit. I will rename and I will call this predecessors only. So then it's easy for me to understand what it is. And then I will be using a formula. As I said, the formula is going to be available in here. So I'll just copy and paste because that's going to be easier. So paste my formula in here. And then I wanted to explain a little bit to you. So what I am doing is, first, I'm verifying if my task is a summary. Summary tasks, as we know, they should not have, or they must not have, dependencies in terms of predecessors or successors, right? So if it's a summary, you don't care. I am just saying to project, I don't care. I don't have to have predecessors in summary tasks. So if it's a summary, just return me some summary task. That's the return I would like to receive. However, if it's not a summary and if it's a regular task, then you should check if it has predecessors. So if predecessors are blank, then we say task has no predecessors. If that's not the case, then, task has predecessors. So that's the formula I'm using here. So I can use the formula. In the same way we did previously, we can use the formula to calculate summary rows, and then we can go to graphical indicators. The change in here is that since I have 3 main possible answers, I have 3 conditions, I can just respond or just define what's going to be available for each one of them. So if the result equals to summary task, then the image should just be, a blank circle, because, summary tasks should not have predecessors. So that's fine if the summary tasks have no predecessors. if the result of the calculation is task has no predecessors, and sorry for my accent, Brazilian accent. So if it has no predecessor, so then it's going to be a red flag. And if it does have predecessors, then we say task has predecessors. Pretty simple. We can then use a green flag, and we can go back here and say, summary rules, we'll just take the same criteria or follow the same criteria. Summary for project summary, same for project summary. We can do OK. And after we are done with this, we can just add the new column in here, which is the predecessors. And what we can say is, the first task in our schedule, which is the one called kickoff, it doesn't have a predecessor, and it's fine. That's not a problem, just because this is the first task of the schedule, so we don't need to be worried about that. But if we move forward here, we will be seeing that there are some tasks in our schedule that do not have predecessors, and that's something that we need to check, because if that's the case, the schedule might not be displaying to us or informing us the right information, and we have to do take a corrective action in here, right? So this is the way it goes. So we have all of the formulas, we just create all of them. And just to finish this presentation, I wanted to show you something in here. So I will close out this schedule, okay? And I will not save it because I do have another version in here. And then I will open another one, which I am calling, same thing, project server installation, but final. And what I wanted to share with you and I wanted to encourage you to do is, as soon as you are finished creating all of the formulas for your schedule, what you can do, and what I wanted to share and I wanted to encourage you to do is, I wanted to say, do not insert or do not create the columns in your regular table. So for example, this table that I'm using, it is the entry table, and the entry table should not be used to accommodate all of our indicators, right? Because that's not the right place for them to be. So what is most recommended for you to do is, you can click on tables, and then you can create your own table. So for example, in here, I created a table called governance and compliance. This is a custom table that I created for my project, for my schedule. And then what I can do is, I can go to the governance and compliance, and all of my indicators, all of the KPIs that I created, all of the governance KPIs are going to be in there. So as you can see, I have only, task mode, task name, and then I have all of my KPIs in here. So then it's easier for me to understand what's wrong or what I am missing. And I can keep this information isolated, because it's not going to be every time that you are going to be seeing this, right? So you don't have to have this in your regular entry table, just because the entry table should be used for something else. So then we create a custom table in which we store the information based on their subject, based on their topic. And since in here we are talking about governance and compliance, I then created a table called governance and compliance, so then we can keep this information in here isolated from everything else. Okay? Yeah, that's all for me today, everyone. I'm sorry for this little issue that we had in the connectivity, but I hope that you were able to get everything that was to be shared, or that was meant to be shared. If you missed my email and you need to send me an email so then I can share, additional documentation with you, that's in here, rafael.santos@senseiprojectsolutions.com. And I encourage you to basically go to our Sensei Project Solutions website. There is a list of previews or of the upcoming webinars. So there are lots of content to be shared in the upcoming months, and I hope to be seeing you soon. Let me see if there are questions in here that I can answer real quick, and then we can wrap up. Okay, so there is a question from Matt. Can you please email the formulas? Oh, yeah. So, Matt, what you can do is just send me an email. And as I said, the information is going to be in here. There is the list of formulas that I am using. So they are all in here, as you can see. And I would just send this deck for you and for you guys, for everyone who wants to receive it. So then you can just copy and paste and use them on your schedules in your projects. All right. Let me see if there is something else. Doesn't seem to be the case. Yep, so I believe we are all set. So as I said, thank you everyone for joining me today, and I hope you have a very good day. I hope you have a great day and a good rest of week. Thank you very much, and I will be seeing you soon. Bye bye.